Now,
Can you check if
hello.
you've let in Anuj? Can you check
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
have let in Anuj and Harsh? Okay, okay.
Oh,
So
he left.
yeah, Anuj is there.
He left.
Okay.
No, no, I'm here.
Just be just be cognizant of any requests
Yeah, yeah.
and
Sure, sure,
answer it.
sure.
Okay. Let's start the debate. Would you like me to start with mine or would you like to go first?
You can go first.
All right, cool, perfect. It's 1:44 and I'm people 154 at the wedding mass. Can wrap up my
Uh, Abhishek,
topic
Abhishek,
that we chosen for
Abhishek,
the debate.
Abhishek. Sorry for the interruption, but your voice is breaking. I cannot clearly hear you. Yep.
Abhi, your voice is breaking. Let me see if I'm connected to my Wi-Fi. Am I audible?
Yeah. Now you are.
Okay, cool. All right, it's
Yeah.
1:45. I am starting. The topic that we've chosen for the debate is veganism ethically, morally, and environmentally a stupid decision or a wrong decision? And I am speaking against this stance because that no, veganism is not ethically, environmentally, morally stupid. I would first start with ethics and morals of veganism. Basic that we need to establish before we begin the debate is that suffering is cruelty. Whenever we introduce any kind of suffering towards a living being, and by suffering I mean a living being that can feel suffering. Okay, so for example, virus. We can establish and we can both agree that a virus cannot suffer because it does not have a nervous system which is complicated enough to process that emotion which you call suffering. Okay, the second premise that we need to establish is that giving life to a creature is not ethically moral. When we birth a child, we are doing a favor to ourselves. We're not doing that child a favor by bringing that child into this world. So you can think of this like, let's say you birth 100 children and you beat all of them every day, every single day. Now that's not, you can't argue that, okay, I can beat these and small suffering on these creatures just because I have brought them to life. Okay, so establishing these two premises, when we engage in the consumption of meat, we will take the example of an isolated animal, which is
Yeah.
perhaps grazing in the savannas. Let's say it's a cow. So there's some chance that cow might have been eaten by a lion. Okay. Now we pick that cow, we bring it to our farm. We'll take the example of female of let's say the species cow. We pick both of them on the savanna.
Abhishek, you have. Okay.
There was some interruption. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So we pick a pair of cows, a male and a female from savanna. Now, if we hadn't picked them from there, there is some chance that a lion might have eaten them, which which would contribute to a little to suffering of either or both of those creatures, right? Now, when we bring them to a farm, we burn children, kill of those creatures. Let's say they give birth to five such offspring. We eat four of them and we make one of them survive. Perhaps we take another cow from the other gender and we continue this process. So the maximum suffering that would have been inflicted on those that pair either or both of them might have been killed by a lion. But now we are bringing more creatures to life through often through artificial insemination, and we are killing many of them, right? So are superior soil creatures as well as the plants. If we are raising around two are gonna die during the process of farming, right? Yeah. But when we are raising animals, we have to we have to give them food in order for them to survive. In order to give them food, again we have to engage in farming. And we know for a fact that if we eat plants directly, we require much less resources, much less farming, and much less creatures killed during that farming compared to if we feed those plants to a given animal for years and years and years, and then we kill and eat that creature. All right. So from the perspective of the animals that are harmed during the farming, either for providing us the food or to provide the animal the food, again, veganism wins. Okay, there's one more. Yeah, there was an animal. Okay, let's say you want to breathe air. Of course, this is the thing about analogy is that they are all inherently false. Okay, they are just given to prove a point, and that's how it's going to be the case with my analogy. The analogy is as follows. Let's say we want to breathe air. Okay, we want to breathe air. Now, if you raise any animal, and now you have established that, okay, this animal, the air that this animal exhales from his lungs, that's all I'm going to breathe in. So you collect that air using a machine, you collect that air, and you only breathe that air. Okay. Now, when you breathe in directly from your environment, you're just breathing in air, versus when you are breathing what that animal has exhaled in spite of you getting pretty much uh, the same amount of oxygen, assuming that the creature doesn't consume too much of the oxygen of what he's taking in, you will have to raise that creature. You will have to take care of that creature. You will have to provide him food. So environmentally, it's an inefficient process. Okay, and okay, let's skip that one. We know that the carbon footprint of various foods, we have data on that, right? And it is for me the lowest, but there's still around 50% efficiency. So in order to produce 1 kg of meat from fish, you need to give them around 1.5 to 2 kilograms of food. By food, I mean plants or yeah, plants or algae, whichever you consider appropriate food. For creatures like chicken, it's often in the range of 5 to 10 kilograms per kg of meat. For larger creatures like cows and buffaloes, it's 20, 25, 30 kilos. So from an environmental perspective, we have solid data on whether or not, or sorry, we have solid data on what is the carbon footprint of any given food in terms of the water that is required to raise that animal in order in terms of land that is required to raise that animal, and in terms of resources. So food that is given to that animal, the water that is given to that animal, and the land that is occupied. So I'm mentioning land because in order to raise 100 animals, you need to process the land in a specific way, right? All right, so I think I'm done speaking for 8 minutes, and that's enough for now. You can raise your points, and we will get into the to and fro.
Uh, can you unmute yourself, Abhishek? Yeah, thank you. So, my stance again veganism is because if we look at it from philosophical point of view, it will make sense. Okay, we do not want animals to suffer. But if we look at it from a practical lens, we understand that there are many cultures or societies, we can say, which have been, doing eating meat since ages. It is the cultural practice. And also, if we look at various, geographical locations, there are some locations where, growing crops is next to impossible, or even if it's possible, we cannot grow much, like some hilly areas or mountainous areas. So we can say that, being coming from urban cities, we can say, oh, it is causing suffering. But for them, those who cannot grow crops or those who reside in hilly areas or areas with lot of snowfall, for them it is the absolute need, because if they don't eat meat, they will not survive. Yes, Abhishek, I got that. They will not survive. Secondly, we say philosophically in philosophical circles that causing suffering to animals is not ethical. But I would say suffering is part of life, even if it's for animals or humans. If, if say let's say we don't consume meat, then there might be some diseases which they can get, which it will eventually make them, suffer with diseases, etc., etc. Or they might, like say for example, if there are 100 cows, so not all of them will be, perfectly bodied, like perfectly able. Uh, some will have some what we call as genetic mutations, etc., etc. Because we once and we admit, yeah, which will, make them catch some diseases, etc., etc. So it is a part of normal human life to say, normal, process of life, that eventually sometime or the other we will suffer. And thirdly, we say, oh, it reduces carbon footprint, but that is true that it might reduce carbon footprint, but it comes with an assumption that there is an equal amount of land all over the world, which we know is obviously not true. Some countries will have more land, some will have less. Some will have less land. Some will have land, but it will be in the form of deserts. Or where some will have land where the rain quantity is very high. So it is not equally distributed in this land is not equally distributed in the whole world. So for some people, eating meat is more practical than for growing crop. One second, let me. Yeah. Growing crops. Secondly, we we should not forget that it comes with many nutritional deficiencies like vitamin B12, which is very important for a child's nervous system, for developing child's nervous system. We also should not forget that it is low in calcium and protein and various other nutrients which is required for a healthy and optimal growth of human being. And third thing, we often forget that ethics are important, but there is also an economical cost to veganism. For example, the protein from animal sources is way cheap than consuming protein from plant-based sources. Like if we say, even if we talk about whey protein, we can get 1 kg of whey protein in $2,000. But whereas that's not true for vegan proteins, or if we talk about also other nutrients like calcium, etc. To get that from diet is not to complete the need from diet, it's not possible. So we have to rely on supplements, which again has an additional. So yeah, these are my points for now. So we can, if you want, you can begin with your comments. Yeah.
Perfect. Hope I'm audible. I've just noted some of your points so that I don't miss them. Yeah, so I would first like you to please repeat the topic of the debate. What was the topic of the debate?
Is veganism ethically, morally and economically a stupid diet better.
No, it wasn't the total debate. I will read it for you. Wait.
Yeah,
Is veganism ethically, morally, and environmentally a stupid decision? And we have not included nutritionally for a reason. Because on the day that we decided to hop on that debate, I told you that I agree that from a nutritional perspective, veganism is not a good choice. So that was never the topic of debate.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's something so I think that's one point that we are the mind that it is meat and snow as a calorie.
hey, hey,
It
hey,
is
Abhishek, Abhishek,
necessary.
Abhishek.
Is my voice breaking?
Not only that, but we have only 10 minutes for this meeting because there is a
Okay, is it speaking or am I clearly audible now?
no, no. You are clearly heard.
Okay, okay. So when they might be a practical situation where I need to someone because they are medically. This is a practical situation, right? Just because in a situation which demands it a necessity to kill someone, it doesn't make it ethical for me to go around and killing people. Certainly, when you're stuck in a situation where you have no choice but eat meat, it does not make it ethically or morally correct to eat meat when in not in a situation where you are stuck with meat. So, what the point you made is of tangent and it is a logical fallacy, right? When you are stuck in a situation, but you have no choice, when you have no choice, in that case, you get my point. We're talking
Yeah, yeah,
about ethics. Yeah. So that point of view, it's invalid because when you say practically in that situation, we don't have a choice. And ethics come into play when we have a choice. So let's see
yeah.
what other
So,
point you raised. Part of life they will die. See, again, I started on just because it's a part of life doesn't you have to suffering is part of life, but in suffering, giving the portion of animals is not ethically ethic or moral. Just because every human is gonna suffer, every that, but it doesn't make it ethical for me to kill humans or to increase suffering. Nor does it make ethical for me to build human life just to torture them or kill them. The same is true for every animal that is born on this earth will suffer. It does not make it ethical for me to increase to the animals birth more offsprings and then torture them or make them. The point is, an animal which suffers in nature, the suffering is nowhere comparable to what the animal suffers when it is raised for it. Okay, and we know that these animals that are in tiny cages will just saw okay. Am I able?
yeah, yeah. I'm able to hear you.
Okay, I think it's just you, Tushar.
Abhishek, just for your information, we have just 6 minutes left to be able to record you. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Cool, cool. I have
just
countered your points, pretty much all of your points. Let me check. Meat in snow areas, part of life, they will die. Practical nutrition. Yeah, that's it. You can counter my points or you can give out my counters if you want.
yeah, yeah. So, first of all, you said just because it's part of life doesn't make it ethical. But I would say the ethics are constructed by us humans. If you go in nature, ethics doesn't work. So
Yeah, ethics are a concept of humans. Yeah. So what's wrong with that?
yeah, if you will let me complete.
I never said that they are a part of the. I never said animals are supposed to.
Yeah. So let me complete. So I just wanted to clear
Yeah.
that. Now to counter your point that
Okay, okay,
ethics
okay. I want to
is
be very clear. That 10 minutes was supposed to speak uninterrupted. Now that the is open,
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
are supposed to interrupt each other and contact each other.
yeah, yeah,
Feel I'm making a mistake and will do the same. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go on, go on. I
yeah.
don't have any
Please,
problem with that. Yeah. So what I
please say
was yeah, yeah. So where I was yeah. Uh, it doesn't mean you said it doesn't mean that killing is justified. And you also gave example ki it, I cannot go on killing humans, but I will say if there is a terrorist, would killing him justify?
I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me repeat it. So I have a simple analogy to that. If you say
Yeah.
killing is not ethically right, so I will say if there is a terrorist, should
That's not what I
killing
said.
be just
I said increasing the collective suffering unethical. That's what I said.
no
Of
you
animals.
No, you clearly said killing is not justified. You never said complete collective suffering of it. That's what I was
Can you
saying.
please
That
repeat?
what happened?
Yeah,
Hello.
I
Yeah,
that's what I said. Killing animals which we have raised for the sake of kill is not just right. That's the argument that I make from the point where this debate started. I have given that killing which we have raised for the purpose of killing. That's not correct.
yeah. Now that's what I was. Uh,
Yeah, you
uh,
continue the terrorist argument.
yeah, so yeah, but then you say killing collective suffering is not justified. But then that's what I'm saying. If we do not kill, let's say we let animals roam free, so wouldn't
Which
that also
animal?
cause
Which
suffering?
animal? No, no. Which
Like
animal are you
whatever.
talking about? The ones that are born in the wild or the ones that we have?
Okay, the ones we have reached. I'm talking about them.
The ones
Let's
that
say
we
for
have bred, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So if first of if we have raised, if we have, you would say, um, basically the animal that we have to life with our food, talking about letting those animals in the wild. Won't let those animals into the wild, right? We kill
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. So see, what my point is, let's say if we are raising chickens, hens, or cows for the meat consumption. Now
Okay.
suddenly they are freed. So they will require
So how
resources.
will suddenly be free? How will they suddenly be free? They can't be suddenly free.
Yes, of course, if we adopt veganism, then they will have to go free.
If we adopt veganism, we'll stop raising them altogether.
Yeah, but you are saying that means they won't reproduce naturally. They will reproduce also naturally.
I could really. Na- you, that that's the idea.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, if we, let's say we stop raising them for our meat stuff and let them be in wild, wouldn't they
Yeah,
also?
we stop raising those animals from the wild. Stop taking animals from wild and stop further hunting for them. That's what I'm not sure aware of this, but the population of farm animals that we have is way more than wild animals. So it's survival and loyalty. Will birth having 100 children to life, 100 children to life. I will install a, let's say, a device induce suffering. So they, let's say it, every 2 minutes it gives an electric shock. Okay. So until life having a machine which gives an electric shock every 2 minutes. Ethically speaking, let's say shock is very intense. So what I have what I have installed permanently is more ethical for me to kill them. You for but I have already made an ethical choice by and bringing them life. You get one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have I have made an ethical choice by bringing to life. Now choice. Now we have to let intention